Great. So hello and welcome everyone. Malo, Talofa, Bula, Maori, good afternoon and good evening, depending on where you are. Excellent. We're also live streaming this, which is very exciting. Okay. Great. Okay. All right. Apologies for that. Some technical issues on my side. I think we are recording and we are live. So apologies for the slight technical hitch. Just confirming that I'm online. Oh.
Yes, Esther, we can hear you loud and clear.
Excellent, thank you. All right, apologies for that. So, well, we're here today to talk about the Pacific Greenpreneurs Accelerator program, and very happy to be here with all of you. So my name is Esther Bates, and I am the project manager for the Pacific Green Entrepreneurs Network with the Global Green Growth Institute. And could I just please request everyone to mute themselves, please? Great. All right, so today's session it will be co-hosted by myself and my colleague Rashika Gounder, who I'd like to pass over now just to take us through the overview of the program, and I'll be back with you later in the program.
Thank you, Esther. So good evening, everyone. I am Rashika Gounder, the Associate for the Pacific Green Entrepreneurs Network Program, and I'm based in Suva. So this session will be running by my colleague Esther and I, and we would have a session for 1 hour. And so before jumping into the other details, I would like to request you to keep yourself on mute, and there would be time to ask questions at the end of the presentation. And in this session, we will cover the overview of our Pacific Green Entrepreneurs Network program. We will explain about the Accelerator program in detail, and which will cover the eligibility and assessment criteria as well. We'll touch on how to apply, and we'll cover frequently asked question and answers, and also give you the opportunity to ask us questions. So, for those who don't know about us, the Global Green Growth Institute is an international treaty-based organization based in Seoul. We work to achieve a low-carbon, resilient world through green economic growth that is inclusive and sustainable. We have 44 member countries across the world, which includes 5 in the Pacific. And we have 5 staff members based in Fiji, Kiribati, PNG, Tonga, and Vanuatu, as you can see on the screen here. So moving on, the Pacific Green Entrepreneurs Network is aimed at catalyzing innovation and entrepreneurship in the private sector to develop Pacific solutions for Pacific challenges, which is to contribute to the region's development goals. There are many challenges that we are aiming to address, which includes the recovery from COVID-19 and climate vulnerability. We have a green and just a second. I can hear Esther mentioning there's a feedback. Let me quickly just check that. It must be. I hope that fixes it. Okay. I hope you guys can hear me well now.
Anita Strelishny Lata, she's unmuted.
Okay. We'll continue. So I'm very pleased to mention that from the 2022 cohort, the Green Entrepreneurs who were awarded the seed grant funds addressed poverty, hunger, and food security, health and well-being, sanitization, clean energy, sustainable communities, responsible consumption, and waste and life on land. So you can see that the Pacific Green Entrepreneurs Network is aligned with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, particularly supporting climate action, decent work, and gender equality. And I must mention that other than these, there are, through the businesses we support, our program touches on many other SDGs as well. And moving on. So the Pacific Green Entrepreneurs Network is a 3-year regional project, which is funded by Qatar Fund for Development, and it is across 6 countries in the region. And the 6 countries are Fiji, Kiribati, PNG, Samoa, Tonga, and Vanuatu. And here on the screen, you can see the 3 major components of the network, which we look at in more detail shortly. And so these components are the incubator program, accelerator program, and green entrepreneurship ecosystem. So before we move into that, we often hear people ask us, what do we mean by green entrepreneurs or green businesses? And so let me explain this to you. For us, we consider that the business is purpose-driven, has an objective to address environmental or social issues in the communities or the countries as part of their business models, which is a green business. So for the accelerator program, we have there is a strong environmental focus, which is a must for this program. And when we say green businesses, this could mean that the products and services that the businesses are offering are green themselves, or you could be improving the environment, such as mangrove planting. It could purposefully be creating jobs for the disadvantaged groups, such as youths, rural women, or remote communities as well. So now let's look at the environmental ecosystem. And we recognize that the strong networks are critical for strong entrepreneurship ecosystems. Entrepreneurs find the greatest value in growing their networks. So this includes personal connections with mentors, partners, investors, business advisors, policymakers, and other contacts, which are all valuable aspects of joining the support program. And we're very excited to be working with great local and regional support organizations, which is to build on the existing support and the great work they are already doing, providing to entrepreneurs in developing their ecosystem in terms of capacity building and hosting knowledge sharing and awareness events. And you can see here on this slide, so our implementing partners in PNG is Amstrad Holding, also known as eSpace. We have Samoa Business Hub in Samoa. For Tonga, we have Tonga Youth Employment and Entrepreneurship. And in Vanuatu, we're working with Vanuatu Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So now let's touch on what is the Pacific Greenpreneurs Incubator Program. And so this is another component of the network, and it is a program which consists of training, coaching, mentoring. So when we say coaching, we have group and individual coaching as well. We have networking opportunities, and these are all for early stage green enterprises. And currently we are running the second incubator program. And I believe I can see some of our current participants and also alumni from the 2021 program who are also on this session. And So this program also gave the opportunity to the participants to win US $5,000 in seed grant funding after the submission of their business plan competition. And we had 20 winners from the 2021 cohort, and we are looking at having another 20 winners from the 2022 cohort. So moving on, just briefly touching on the Accelerator program, as I know you're basically here for that. And so the applications are open until 18th November. And this program aims to support the incubator graduates and other high potential green enterprises in growth stages to develop towards investment readiness through a structured program. And it will consist of links with investors, individual technical assistance support, mentoring, investor pitch events, networking, and learning opportunities. And it will also offer repayable grants in amounts between $10,000 and $50,000 US dollars. And additionally, I'm excited to share, we will also have one lucky enterprise that will win a study trip to Qatar as part of the knowledge exchange with Qatari green businesses. So now I'd like to hand it over to my colleague, Esther, who is actually going to take you through the program in much more detail. So over to you, Esther.
Thanks, Rishika. Excellent. So thank you for that overview. So the Accelerator program that you're all here to learn about, I'll go through in a bit more detail. And of course, what we'll also do is show you through the application form and some tips on that. And then we'll have some frequently asked questions and Q&A time. So please do, think as you come up with questions, please do type them in the chat or hang on to them until we come to that time. So the Accelerator program, as Rishika mentioned, we're aiming to support growth stage businesses, green enterprises who are particularly environmentally focused in the 6 countries in the region that we are supporting. So businesses in Fiji, Kiribati, Papua New Guinea, Samoa, Tonga, and Vanuatu. And we're aiming to help these innovative green businesses to scale up and become investment ready. And our aim for GGGI is to be helping to contribute towards green job creation and green job growth in the region, which is to address unemployment and livelihoods. So that's an important part of our program, and that's a bit of a tip for you guys when you're looking at how to apply. So the program is basically a 6-month program. The applications are open, as Rishika mentioned, and I'll show you the timeline in a minute, but basically it's we're starting from early next year, and it'll be 6 months, which will involve masterclass training, mentoring and technical assistance, networking activities, which is basically around investor linkages, investor pitching at a local level and also a regional level as well. And of course, show me the money. There's an option for repayable grant funding should you choose to take that. So basically, what does this look like? From when we start the program, which is expected to be around mid-January, each business would be given a one-to-one, basically a needs assessment with a coach to identify some strategic priority areas which you agree you want to work on to grow and to basically catalyze growth for your business. So this will be partly a self-reflection, and you can see certain areas of your business that you want to focus on. They may already be evident to you, or they may come out of discussion. So it might be something like finance or access to markets or your sales and marketing or business strategy or whatever that is. So based on the priority areas you identify, you'll be allocated a number of hours to connect with a business advisor and mentor to provide you the support you need to grow in that particular area, which will be done virtually. There'll also be some training master classes on certain topics, depending on the needs of the cohort, which are likely to include, or definitely will include, some financial record keeping and modeling training and support. basically because we know a lot of people will be applying for the repayable grant funding, and so that training will be geared to help you to apply for the financial modeling requirements we need for that. But it will also help to apply for other future loans and grants and other financing options as well. There'll probably also be some training around business pitching and any other identified training needs which come out of the assessments. Yeah, so of course, during the program, you'll have the opportunity to then decide if you want to apply for the repayable grant program, which is probably likely to be around April. And so if you're part of the program, you can apply, depending on your business size, you can apply for a grant between $10,000 US dollars up to $50,000 US dollars. And these are repayable grants, which are effectively kind of no interest loans, zero interest loans. So basically, what happens is you will be dispersed, if it's approved, you'll be dispersed with the full amount of the grant upfront, and then basically you have a grace period of 2 years before the first payment of principal is due. So I'll explain that a little bit more. So if your business if you're part of the program and your business has an annual revenue of at least $6,000 US dollars, so I'm sorry, we're using US dollars because we're working with multiple countries. So you'll need to do the maths in your head and exchange to your own currency. If you have annual revenue of at least $6,000 US dollars, you're eligible to apply for the repayable grants of between $10,000 to $30,000 US dollars. And the larger businesses with revenue around over $20,000 US dollars are eligible to apply for between $30,000 and $50,000 US dollars. And so if you choose to apply for it, then the TA mentioned the technical assistance hours. You can, if you wish to do so, you can request the support to help you to build that grant funding proposal together, basically. So for example, let's say that I run a business that's part of the Accelerator program, and I have an annual income over the past 3 years of $25,000 US dollars a year. So after consulting with my technical advisor, I decide to apply for the repayable grant, and I want the highest amount. I want $50,000 US dollars so I can invest in some equipment to expand the production of my business. So I'll develop my grant funding proposal, my business pitch, my investor profile and financial records with the help of the program in around April. And if my grant application is selected and approved for funding, then I'll receive $50,000, the full $50,000 that I request in approximately July or August after the due diligence and prioritization process. The first repayment that I as a business will need to give back would be 2 years after the disbursement. So let's say July 2025. And that will be for 20% of the principal amount, which is basically 20% of 50,000, so 10,000 up in 2 years' time. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, we have plenty of funds to disperse, and we certainly are looking for great green businesses that we can help to really grow and create excellent green jobs through this program. Great. Okay, so on the next slide, there's a bit of a timeline, which I've already sort of mentioned a little bit. So yeah, basically we'll be beginning by the end of this year, we'll complete the application process and we'll notify the applicants of they're successful or not. And then the program will begin in mid-January, run till about July. And we'll have investor pitch events planned for May and June. So Rishika mentioned there'll be a study trip or a knowledge exchange visit to Qatar. Mm-hmm. So basically how that we plan for that to work is there'll be local winners of the pitch event, and then those local winners will be invited to a regional pitch event, and the winner at the regional level will be able to win basically the study trip to Qatar as well. Great. On the next slide, so who are we looking for? There's a lot of text on that slide. I'm not going to go through it all. We're looking for green businesses. We're looking for entrepreneurs. We're looking for you guys who are really passionate about creating a positive environmental impact through your business. We're looking for people who have existing businesses that you're really looking to grow ambitiously, to take to scale. And we're really looking for you to be able to create as many green jobs as possible in your communities and beyond. So think big. People who are innovative and passionate about learning, connecting, and sharing with others, because you'll be joined in the cohort together with other people, and you've got a lot to learn from each other. So that's important, that you're open and willing to learn. And then a few things like, because we're running the program in English, basically because we're working with Greenpreneurs, businesses across 6 different countries. So you have to be comfortable in working in and writing proposals and that kind of thing in English language. And you have to be able to be online and have access to a computer and to access all the training and equipment online. We certainly encourage people to apply in teams with your co-founders or with your business partners, with key members of your business, key staff members as well, so that you can work together in developing, a really strong funding proposal and a business plan that will be, really impactful and can take your business to new heights. We encourage women and youth and people with disabilities to apply for sure. And the picture is one, we couldn't find a better one, just to say we want people who are willing to take a leap and take the plunge and invest to your business and grow. Okay, so now the next section, there's a few slides on the eligibility and assessment criteria. So just moving to the next one. This isn't something, you'll see this mentioned in the application guidelines. You don't need to worry too much about it on the form. You'll basically be automatically directed to provide the information for the right stream. But basically, we're just saying that we are accepting people who are early businesses who have participated in, who are early stage, but who are graduates of programs such as our incubator program, and also some other similar programs, as well as larger, the stream 2, which is the growth stage green enterprises, to join the program. So it doesn't matter which stream you're in, you'll apply via the same form, and you'll just be directed to, based on your answers, you'll be directed to provide slightly different information. Once you're in the program, you'll be given the same opportunities, the same program access. On the next slide, the eligibility criteria. Great. So this, the sort of the box in yellow at the top is common. It doesn't matter whether you're stream 1 or stream 2. Basically, we need the lead applicant, the person putting together the application on the online, must be a citizen of one of the 6 countries in which we're working. The business needs to be registered as a for-profit legal entity, so private sector business, and be operating in one of the or more of the 6 countries listed above. The lead applicant should be at least 18, and very important for us is to demonstrate a strong environmental focus on your business. So, as mentioned, you'll be directed to provide slightly different things depending on what answers you choose. But if you are a graduate of the incubator program or an accepted program, which currently we're accepting people from the Fiji Enterprise Engine or YHER program. So if you've graduated from one of those other 2 programs as well, and you can provide us a certificate graduation, you're eligible under stream 1 as long as you meet the other criteria. And that other criteria are to have at least 2 years of business operations and a minimum average annual turnover of $6,000 US over those past 2 years. So it's slightly different for the growth stage one. So we want to see that your enterprise has been growing over the past 3 years, and that you have at least 3 years of operations in, I guess, under your belt. It could be a lot longer. And that you've averaged at least $20,000 US dollars over the past 3 years. So when we talk about the revenue growth, it's okay if you've gone, particularly with COVID, if the revenues dip down and then gone up, that kind of thing. We just want to see over a period of time that your business is growing. And then we get on to, so once you've met the eligibility criteria, then it comes to the assessment criteria, which is the next slide. Okay, great. So we have 5 categories that we're basically assessing all the eligible applications against. These are the 5 on the screen. So we have a selection panel who will be independently scoring and ranking your applications based on these. On the next slides, I'll show you the guiding questions that they're going to be looking at to help them to rank businesses. But I want to just say here is to please, in your application form is your opportunity to show us that, you are, a passionate, green business, and that you've got a strong environmental impact that you are already making, and that you're going to be able to really grow through the program, and that you're a for-profit business. Be as specific as you can in telling us about the problems that you're solving. That'll really be in your own benefit. So the next slides. Right, so I'm not going to cover all this in a lot of detail, but you can see these are the kind of questions that the selection panel will be reviewing applications against. So basically how much of an environmental impact is the business model going to have? How much, what can you show already that you've done with your track record? How many, I don't know if it's tons of greenhouse gas or amount of waste or amount of whatever it is that's your area. Tell us how do you quantify the impact that you've had, and what is the impact that you're going to be having in future based on your business vision and plan to move forward. In the business growth section, you can see there's a lot of different questions there. And one of the important ones there particularly is, what about the green jobs? How many people are you planning to employ in your business over the next 12 months and 5 years and beyond? So we want to work with businesses that are realistic but also ambitious in scaling up their green businesses. So tell us how you're planning to do this. And in the next slide. So financial viability is one area here. Are you going to be ready to receive funding? And will you be able to pay back the repayable loans? We want people and the entrepreneurial mindset. We want people who are really passionate, who want to learn and build their networks and grow through the program as well. And of course, inclusion, as mentioned, don't just join if you're a woman or a youth or another marginalized group, but also, if you are supporting or working with groups like women or youth or people with disabilities, people in remote or rural areas, or some other marginalized group, tell us about that. Tell us what you're doing and why. Okay. All right, so I think then can we go to the next slide? So how to apply. Okay, the next one, please. So we have, next. Great, thank you. So yeah, so you've probably all seen the postcard that we've got on the screen. So how to apply? We need you to apply online, please. That's the only way that we can receive applications through the link which is on the screen, or that QR code will take you to the same link. We'll also share the link in the chat if we haven't yet. Yes. And what I just would like to mention, what we're going to do is shortly jump over to the to show you what the application form looks like and go through a few of the questions. But just to mention, on the next slide, we've got some of the documents that you need to have on hand for the application, just to make it as smooth as possible. So you can just do it at one go. So you will need to prove for the for the lead applicant, you'll need to have a government or official ID. So perhaps a passport, a driver's license, or a voter's registration to show that you basically who you say you are. The lead applicant's CV, at least one photo of your team. This could be ideally more, so perhaps a business logo, as well as something showing your business products and your team and or as well. We need proof of your business registration certificate, your current one, as well as some other form of proof that you've been in operation for either 2 years if you're in stream 1 or 3 years if you're in stream 2. And so that proof of the business operations can also be previous business registration certificates, for example, or could be other forms of documentation. Right, I think we're actually not requiring number 6. Sorry, I didn't update this. And for number 7, if you are if you're one of the graduates of one of the incubator programs or accelerator programs that we accept, then we'll also need you to upload your graduation certificate. Yes, I think that's basically all. So basically, if you have all that on hand, it's going to make the application form a lot easier to do. But don't stress if you realize later on you need to come back and upload things separately. You can do that. You can save the form and come back and edit it later. Okay, so perhaps Rishika, could I get you to just take over for a minute while I share the screen and flip over to the actual application form.
Okay. Thank you, Esther. So while Esther does that, just very quickly, I'd like to share some of the application text. And you can, so we need the lead applicant should be the one to fill in the form. And you must review the application guidelines beforehand. So just to make sure that the program is right for you, you're right for the program. And this actually helps you not to waste your time in trying to apply for this. Please note the maximum number of characters on the form, and which are not words. And we need you to be concise and specific with your answers. And please prepare text answers beforehand. This actually helps a lot. And we could suggest that you write your answers in a Word document, and then you could just paste it in. This will also help you to change it, to read it, proofread it, so that it's when you're very happy with it, you can put it into the form. And we'd like you to keep in mind that we don't expect you to have all the answers. So please be yourself when filling this, and take advantage of the optional sections. You can put in some other details that you'd like to tell us, which you haven't been able to tell us earlier in the application. And you can actually edit your application after submission, as long as it's before the deadline. So now I'll just hand it over back to Esther, who will take us through the application form. Over to you, Esther.
Thanks, Rishika. Great. So this is the application form. I'm not sure if some of you have already applied or have already had a look at it. But just on the assumption that you haven't or you haven't completed it yet, here's some, we'll just go through some of the key areas. So just to mention that the form may look a bit long, but don't be concerned. We're as mentioned, we're just looking to give people the opportunity to provide the detail on their business in an objective way. So the first question is kind of a filtering question, and it will help us to identify if you are like the stream 1 or the stream 2. So just make sure that you correctly tick, correctly choose the right option here. You know, only if you click no, basically you are not currently part of the Pacific Greenpreneurs Incubator Program or a past program or an accepted program, then you're part of stream 2. And will be requested to provide information according to stream 2. If you tick any of the yes options, which is either that you're a previous graduate, a current participant, or a graduate of a other accepted program, then you'll be asked to provide the stream 1 information. So just make sure that you do correctly choose the option there. Okay, so firstly, then this one, in section A, we want you to sort of make sure that you are right for the program, you know, that it's going to be a benefit to you and you're the right fit, so it doesn't waste your time, doesn't waste our time. So please do make sure to read and acknowledge and tick all of these items. So this is actually not the right form. All right, there we go. Okay, so in the, I won't go through the things like the lead applicant details. I think that's quite self-explanatory. So I'll skip down, and basically when you get down to, I'll show you how to upload one of the documents. There's a few sections where you need to upload documents. So the first one is uploading one form of valid government ID, passport. So to do so, you click on the link. In this case, I'm not going to choose an ID. I'm just going to click on a file to upload just for the sake of showing you, but you can have something uploaded from your desktop. And just make sure that so it's currently uploading. Okay, so it's now there. And you can see down the bottom, I've got the option to save or move to next. Okay, so now the next section, I've sort of pre-filled this with some just kind of rubbish information just to make this quicker. So I think, you know, this part should be pretty straightforward in terms of telling us a bit about your business, where you operate, the type of organization. So I'm not going to cover that. And move to next. So your business growth, your track record, please so summarize for us and explain to us how, yep, okay, so in terms of, yeah, your business growth, where do you see yourself in the future? What's your business vision and track record? With all of these, as Rishika mentioned, please do pay attention to the maximum number of characters which are mentioned. Just, you know, not generally, can either give us dot points or a couple of sentences. Try not to make it more than 100 words, and certainly can be less than that, but be concise and as precise as possible. So I will spend a little time to just explain. We've got a couple of tables in the form. So this one is about when we're talking about green job creation, we would like to know how many staff you currently have, you've had in the past, and how many are you projecting in the future. So it's a bit of a big table. So as you guys know, we're in 2022. We're almost at the end of 2022. Kindly requesting if people can mute, please. Get someone to mute. Okay, I think I've done that. Okay, great. So we're currently in 2022. So this column of 2022 is the current staffing column. And obviously the ones in the past are in the past, right? So we're looking at your past number of staff and your future projections for next year, 2 years' time, 3 years' time, with it 6 years' time and 10 years' time. So I mean, we know that, I mean, these ones projections in future, they're obviously projections, they're estimates of what you think according to your business growth that you're going to have. So we're asking the number of full-time staff. How many staff do you have that are employed full-time? So we consider that basically 35 hours or more per week. So in this example, I'm saying that I've got 6 in my business who are employed more than that. And I have 6 part-time staff, so who are employed but are working less than 35 hours a week. So 12 in total staff working in my business, permanent staff, that is. So the next one, I just want to stress how to calculate the next 3 lines. So this says from the total full-time and part-time staff, so in this case it's 12, what is the number of female staff? So out of the 12 staff, in this case, I'm saying I have 8 female staff and then 4 male staff. So that's how you read this question. Similarly, from the total number of full-time and part-time staff, what is the total number of staff aged 35 or lower? So out of the 12 staff, I'm saying in my business, I have 10 staff aged 35 or below and 2 above. And also similarly, of the total number of full-time and part-time, what is the total number with a disability? So if they identify as having a disability. So of the 12, let's say 2 of them recognize themselves having a disability, so that's what I enter here. And similarly, then you can look back at, you know, what are your staffing levels for the previous years and the future. Where you can feel free to say 0 in previous years, but you'll need to enter some figure in every field. So if it's not applicable, just 0. And then give us a bit of an example explanation below of your current staffing and then your future staffing plans as well. Okay. Environmental impact. So this is another very important area for us. So yeah, please show us in this section, particularly how passionate you are about your particular environmental issue that you're trying to solve with your business, what you've already done. So what's your track record so far? And be as specific as you can about that. If you've got numbers around that, then tell us what they are. And as another hint, remember that we're looking for enterprises that demonstrate a strong environmental focus, in particular aligning with KPIs such as greenhouse gas mitigation potential, green job creation potential, increased resilience to climate change, and circular economy and waste management. So it can be beyond that. It doesn't have to be one of those, but those are specific areas that we're particularly interested in. So if your business is something to do with mitigation or adaptation around climate change, then explain to us how that's the case. Okay, finances. So this is the other table that we're asking you to fill in. And I hope you can hear me okay. My internet connection's unstable. So as you fill in this table, please make sure that you fill in with details in US dollars. So please do be sure to convert your currency into US dollars. You can use something like an online converter like xe.com or something similar to do that. And do remember that depending on whether you are applying for the Stream 1 or the Stream 2, there is the minimum requirement of showing that you've achieved 6,000 for Stream 1. It's minimum of 6,000 US dollars of annual turnover. So that's revenue or sales is top line of your business. And if it's Stream 2, then show us that you've achieved 20,000 in annual turnover, which is revenue or sales over 3 years. So please do make sure that your figures do line up and show us that. Yeah. So similar to the other table, we'll have to fill in something in all the fields or you won't be able to continue or save. So if you need to enter 0 anywhere, then please do so. So as with the previous table, this is 2022 that we're currently in. So this is the current year. And then we're looking at your previous year, the actual that you have achieved in your business, either, at least 2 years or 3 years, depending on the stream. And moving forward, what your projections are for your business growth. So this is your projections or your plans. So here, hopefully that's clear. When we're saying turnover, you can say the same thing with looking at revenue or sales of your business. And then we're asking for your total costs, roughly what that's coming out as. So we can see, revenue minus costs as your net profit. And you can have that with, don't worry about tax. So consider that that's for tax. And then just explain, we have a couple of other things about telling us, what funding you've already received previously. Have you received other loans or other investments or not? And then a bit of description about that. And what do you project? What do you think are going to be your funding needs in the next 12 months? Are you going to be planning to invest in a large machinery or a lot of stock purchase or, whatever that is? Just give us a brief description there. Okay. Oh, sorry. There is a third table I had forgotten about. Okay. So, yeah, I'm just going to go down to the entrepreneurial mindset. So here we're trying to look at who are the key people on your team? Who are the key people in your business? So this might be the founders or co-founders and business partners that you've got in your business who share the business with you. They may be key personnel who are your staff, who work for you. And so we'd like you to include up to 5 people. So your team member 1, it would be the same as the lead applicant. And you can add 4 other team members here. So there's a little bit of information we're requesting. So the name, their position, designation in the business, gender, age, whether they are working in the business full-time or not, or if this is a side hustle, then you would say no. But if they're working full-time for the business, and say yes. Just a very brief description of relevant education and experience. So it could be the number of years that you're working in this particular industry, or you've got a particular qualification in this field. You might be an electrical engineer, and this is your field of area, kind of thing. And then email addresses, and if they have them, then the LinkedIn link as well. And then a few more questions about what you benefit from the program. Have you been part of other programs and that kind of thing. And then just before I'll end here and looking through the form, but I just wanted to stress here that we do take your personal data very seriously, and basically the only people who would have access to your application forms will be the selection committee. And that selection committee has to basically sign a declaration of confidentiality that they will not share any of the personal or data related to the business and the applications beyond the purpose of selection of the program. So you can rest assured no one is going to be, stealing your business ideas or something like that. So yes, please do, you need to acknowledge that you give consent for us to review your data, but it won't go any further beyond this. And then you come to the submission. So basically, yep, that's when you're done. And as you've seen along the way, you can save, and recommend that you save regularly throughout as you're applying, so that we can apply. Great. Okay, so I think that's basically the end of the form, and I'd like to hand back to Rishika to take us through Q&A and some FAQs.
Thank you, Esther. Are you guys able to see my screen? Okay, so I don't see any questions in the chat. So I'll take you through some of the FAQs and just to give you a better understanding of some of the questions you may be having on your minds. So When we are referring to grant, repayable grant, some of the points to note are it is interest-free loans, so you only pay back the original amount that you have taken. You will not be required to provide a collateral or security, as it's commonly known in PG, against the repayable grant. The GGGI will disburse the full amount upon completion of approvals. So we have our process of approvals. We'll do the eligibility checks and also due diligence. And also in terms of repaying the repayable grant, the recipients will be required to repay the full amount to GGGI in 5 equal installments over a period of 6 years. And once again, please note that there will not be any interest charged to the principal amount that you actually request for. So moving on. Okay, so how do you access the grant, repayable grant funding? As Esther has very clearly explained, we have 2 streams. So just skipping on that, and then if participants are wishing to receive the repayable grant, please note that you must meet the criteria, which is be an active participant in the Accelerator program. You must submit a funding proposal, including the following documents. One, it's the business pitch slide deck, the funding proposal, which is through the financial model, investor profile, and financial records for the last 2 years. And also you would be required to participate in an investor pitch event. We had posted in the links earlier on, and we'll put in the links again in the chat on how to apply as well. So in terms of so in this session, I can see some of our 2022 Greenpreneurs participants as well. And so if you are a current participant in the PESI Greenpreneurs Incubator Program, and we expect you to meet all the graduation requirements by the 25th November if you're interested to apply. So you would be able to apply and be eligible to apply for Stream 1, which Esther has actually spoken more in depth about earlier on. And so for these participants, your applications will be assessed on a conditional basis, and it will be dependent on whether you meet the graduation requirements for the incubator program for this year or not. So moving on, let us look at what is growth stage. We often hear people ask us this. So for us, we consider a business in its growth stage when it has ongoing sales, revenue, turnover in the market, and it has a stability with the stability, and it's got growing number of staff and increasing quantity and value of sales. So please note that it's very important that the businesses need to be formally registered in order to apply. So another question that we have people asking us is, can non-profits apply? Well, not unless your NGO has or is established for a for-profit social enterprise. Our program's focus is basically on building business sustainability through the promotion of business acumen so that innovative green ideas can grow. We totally recognize the wonderful and important roles played by NGOs and cooperatives to address the environmental issues. However, our program focuses on building green jobs and green economic growth. So moving on, in terms of the data privacy, which Esther just touched on a little earlier. So we often also hear about people asking us, how will we ensure privacy of your data and protection of your business idea? Well, as Esther mentioned, I'll repeat as well, that at GGGI, we are committed to ensuring that we keep the data you provide secure. And all applicants' data will only be made available to a handful of people who are on our selection panel. And they are all bound by the GDPR rules on protection of personal data. And hence, they won't be allowed to actually disclose any of the information that, that has been on the form. And for staff, they need to declare any potential conflict of interest to ensure that this is a very transparent process. So that brings me end of the frequently asked questions. So I'll hand back over to Esther, and we both will have a look at some of the questions we have in the chats.
Yeah, thanks, Rishika. There's a number of people who've been messaging me directly. So okay. I've had a few questions. Let me go through them. Okay, so I'm sorry if I get the pronunciations of names incorrect as well. Do apologize. We have a question from Tian Take Marianne. If we have only one ID, like driving license, is that okay? But we have business license and certificates. Yes, if you meet the other criteria, one ID from the lead applicant is completely fine. We have a question from Anita from Hydro Greens. Maximum, how many businesses will get the grant from each country? We have not got a maximum, we have not set an amount per country. We'll basically be prioritizing the funds that we have based on how well each business meets the criteria, which will be the same as the criteria that I showed you before, those 5 categories. So yeah, there's not a minimum per country. Let's see, I'm just going back through the questions. We will share the links to the presentation, the presentation later to people who've attended the call. Okay. So I've got a question from Mira Norima. What is a profit legal entity? This is a for-profit entity, so a business. You are a business, you're not a non-for-profit, you're not a charitable trust organization. You are a private sector, you're a for-profit business. These are the businesses we're looking to work with. Question from Prabhas Ranjan. Is it only open for individual entrepreneurs or business entities with 8+ years of experience can apply? No, we're definitely open. We're expecting businesses to apply. So if you have 8 years experience, then absolutely. If you meet the other criteria, we definitely welcome your application. Okay, another question from Tian Take Mariana. If we already start a business, but now about to invest on green business, can we apply to given our interests and passion in taking care of environment and elaborate in our submission? This is a good question. We're really looking to see the track record you already have in your businesses. So you already have an environmental impact in your business. You could, if you have some other areas of your business, you can share with us that you're having an environmental impact and you're planning to do some other things. That's completely fine. But we're really looking to support businesses who already have some environmental impact and focus to their current business. Question from Silas. I own a business, but not part of the Accelerator program. Can I apply? Yes, so you're not part of the program, absolutely. If you meet the criteria for the Stream 2, which is basically if you're you're operating and a citizen of one of the 6 countries that we mentioned, you're over 18, and you meet the criteria in terms of the annual revenue per year and growth requirements, then absolutely we would very much welcome your application. Question from, I'm sorry, again with the names, Ayobi Nawe. I currently participate in the GGGI program for agribusiness. Can I also apply? So I believe that you're from Kiribati. This is the Kiribati Climate Smart Agriculture program. Yes, absolutely. This is that is something that we should have put into the form. Yes, you could also apply. You would be, so for participants who are currently part of our current incubator program in 2022, and I believe also the agribusiness program, if you, as long you can apply and be conditionally part of the program, but you would only be conditionally, your conditional would become an actual place if you're to be accepted if you complete the current program. So you have to graduate from the other program, the incubator program or the agribusiness program. But in terms of timing, you can apply now, assuming that you're going to stick with it and you're going to complete the agribusiness or the incubator program. Excellent. I think I have covered the questions that I've seen. Just checking with Rishika if there's any questions that you've seen that I've missed.
No, thank you, Esther. I see that you have covered all of it.
And I'm sorry, oh, so that's my hand that's currently up. Was there another hand that was up that I missed, or more than one? Okay, so one more from Martha. What kind of financial documents would you require for us to provide in the document for the application? Sorry, I think I did miss your question, Martha. So, so for the application for the program, that was a mistake on the slide. So you don't need to actually upload anything for the slide. We will be requiring verification if you're applying for the repayable grants next year as part of the program. So if you're just applying at the moment, applying for the program, you don't have to provide us with any with the proof yet. But later on, next year, you'll have to provide us with the proof if you're applying for the loan. I hope that makes sense. Great. I'm sorry, guys, I realize we ran a little bit over the session and session time. We're very happy to stay on to take additional questions, but understand if you need to drop off because we've gone a bit over time. Are there any further questions that we've either missed or you've just thought of now? Okay, I think we might come to the end of the questions. Maybe I'll just hand over to Rishika to close out the session then.
Okay, thank you, Esther. I would just like, on behalf of GGGI and the Pacific Green Entrepreneurs Network Program and the team, I would like to convey our appreciation to our program Jonah Qatar Fund for Development for making this program possible, our partners and Straight Space, Summer Business Hub, Tonga Youth Employment and Entrepreneurship, and Vanuatu Chamber of Commerce. And definitely, I haven't forgotten you all. Thank you to our lovely audience who joined for this session. I hope it has been of value to you. And we would be sharing the live recordings on our social media pages. For those who had registered, we will also add you to our MailChimp lists. And then we would be sending out emails. And we had also done a live recording of this session as well. And it is actually showing on our GGGI Pacific page at the moment. And just earlier on, I had shared the link to that live streaming. And so, yeah, this brings us to the end of the session. And wishing you all a wonderful evening and all the best for your putting together your applications. Thank you so much again.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you very much.